After pursuing Ethan for 3 years, he finally agreed to be with me. On our 5th anniversary, I proposed to him in front of everyone and kissed him passionately. But he pushed me away, scolding me for being inappropriate. He stormed out, and I spent 3 hours looking for him. In our wedding suite, I found him kissing his first love. "If you ask, I'll leave everything behind and take you with me," Ethan said, his eyes red with regret, confessing he had always wanted to marry her. I regretted it too, and so, I ruined my own wedding. The ironic thing was, I ran away from the wedding, and he went crazy trying to find me. Chapter 1. In the wedding suite I had carefully decorated, my boyfriend pinned his first love to the bed, kissing her forcefully. His eyes were red as he said he regretted it. He said he always wanted to marry her. I stood at the door, my body trembling uncontrollably. My ankles felt like they were being cut by a knife. My size 5.5 feet were crammed into the size 5 heels Ethan had given me. I had searched for him for 3 hours, and my ankles were already raw and blistered. Yes. Shoes that don't fit should never have been worn in the first place. I took out my phone and called my boss. "I agree to your arrangement. I'll go to the overseas branch," I said. My boss was shocked. "Why the sudden change of heart? Aren't you getting married?" "Not anymore," I rasped. "It's not suitable." I heard a sigh from the other end of the line. "What a shame. Everyone thought you and your fiancé were so in love and that you had found happiness." I laughed so hard that I started crying. Yes, I also thought I had found true happiness this time. Ethan and I had known each other since high school. He was handsome, smart, and the school heartthrob. I pursued him for 3 years, until the day we graduated, when he suddenly hugged me and said he would be my boyfriend. At that time, I naively thought that if I treated him well enough, he would eventually fall in love with me. So, I did everything to please him. Over the past year or so, his attitude towards me had softened. He would bring me late-night snacks when I worked overtime, make me brown sugar water during my menstrual cycle, and warm my stomach with his hands. I thought I had finally warmed his heart. But I never realized that his heart always belonged to someone else. And, why did it have to be her? I clutched my chest, feeling like I was suffocating, and gasped for air. If the person he was kissing right now was someone else, maybe I could continue to shamelessly listen to his explanations. But it had to be Leah, the girl who bullied me in high school. Ethan knew exactly what she had done to me. The 13-centimeter scar on my back was carved by Leah with a knife dipped in chilly water. When Ethan saw my scar, I could never forget the pain in his eyes. He asked how anyone could be so cruel. But the irony was that the woman he loved was the one he had once thought was so cruel. I couldn't help but peek through the door at them. Leah was wearing my nightgown, sitting on the bed I had meticulously decorated for the wedding. Ethan was half kneeling, washing her feet. In all the years we had been together, Ethan had never done that for me. I remembered my birthday last year when our friends urged him to wash my feet. He coldly refused, saying he didn't want to touch a woman's feet. I thought it was some old-fashioned belief. But now I see, he just didn't want to touch my feet. Leah, with a victorious smile, splashed water on his face. I imagined that if it were me, Ethan would have been angry. But now, he just frowned slightly. Leah laughed. "You can't forget me. This room is decorated exactly how I like it, and all the high heels in the shoe cabinet are my size." Ethan remained silent, carefully drying her feet. "Ethan, you've always loved me. Gwen was just my stand-in, wasn't she? She always tried to be like me, but she could never compare." Ethan still said nothing. Leah threw herself into his arms, kissing him passionately. "Ethan, I want you to answer me. You've always loved me, right?" Through the door, I heard Ethan's hoarse voice. "If you want, I'll leave everything and take you away." In an instant, I felt my heart shatter. I wiped away my tears and turned to leave. Just as I hailed a taxi, I felt a weight on my shoulder. Turning around, I saw Leah smiling brightly at me. "Gwen, long time no see." Her smile was so innocent, but in my eyes, it was more terrifying than a demon's. Chapter 2. Leah stood by Ethan's side, smiling as she greeted me. Instinctively, I looked at Ethan. He explained. I ran into Leah on the way. She wasn't feeling well, so I brought her here. I thought she could stay for a couple of days, but she was worried you'd misunderstand, so she insisted on leaving. Yes. Leah immediately chimed in. Gwen, I saw your wedding suite. It's beautiful, just my favorite Southeast Asian style. You must love it too, right? Her smile was full of provocation. I sneered. Is that so? I don't like it at all. I think it's too tacky. Leah's smile froze. Ethan frowned and said, Gwen, Leah studied interior design. Watch your words. No wonder you were bullied before. I looked at Ethan in disbelief. In high school, when Leah poured red ink all over me and I was crying alone on the playground, Ethan had given me his jacket. Later, when we were together, I recounted the bullying I had endured. He would always hug me with sympathy after hearing it. He said he would never let me be hurt again. But now, to protect Leah, he had the heart to tear open my wounds. Seeing my eyes redden, Ethan was momentarily stunned and said, Just be careful with your words next time. I smiled but felt a bitter sting in my eyes. There won't be a next time. Ethan frowned at me. What do you mean? Ethan. Leah suddenly clutched her chest in pain. Ethan's attention immediately shifted back to her. What's wrong? Ethan asked with concern, seeing her pale face, and he quickly scooped her up. They got in the car and sped away. Ethan was in such a hurry that he didn't even glance back at me. On the ground lay Leah's fallen bracelet. The unique design was exactly like the logo of Ethan's company. My heart clenched. Turns out he had already made his feelings public, conveying his love from afar. The funny thing is, I always thought the W in the logo was taken from my name, Gwen. It was all just my wishful thinking. Just then, my boss called. He said the ticket for the overseas trip was booked for August 12th. My wedding day. But now it didn't matter. This city wasn't for me, I was leaving. That evening, I returned to our wedding suite to pack up the things I had carefully chosen and placed. Chapter 3. Decorating the wedding suite had taken a lot of effort. Every item here was picked and selected by me. I had been packing for nearly 2 hours and still wasn't finished. Just as I was zipping up my suitcase, I heard the sound of keys in the door. Ethan was back. He was carrying a gift bag and handed it to me when he saw me. I bought this for you. Try it on? I took it and looked inside. It was a light purple dress. Size small. I had told Ethan many times that my size was medium. But he always bought size small dresses for me. I used to think he just couldn't remember. But now I realized size small must be Leah's size. I took a deep breath and set the dress aside. Don't you like it? He asked me. I smiled. I do, but I'm a bit tired today. He saw the suitcase beside me and frowned. Where are you going this late? With the wedding coming up, I thought I'd go home to prepare a bit. I made up an excuse. He nodded. Actually, there's something I need to tell you. We might have to postpone the wedding by a couple of days. He explained. I think it's too hasty to have the wedding like this. We should at least buy some gifts to visit your parents and grandmother. Didn't you say your grandmother doted on you when you were little? How about we visit her in a couple of days? Ethan's voice was gentle, and his soft features always made people feel at ease. If this were before, hearing him say this would have made me cry with joy. But now, I just looked at him coldly. He asked if it was okay. I said yes, whatever you want. I knew he was stalling for time because of Leah. And I also needed some time to handle things before leaving for abroad. The next day, when I went to the office to handle my transfer, the receptionist, Lily, who was always gossiping, pulled me aside. Did you know? It seems like Ethan from Shangyuan Corporation is dating someone. she said excitedly as she showed me Ethan's social media. It used to be blank, but now there was a new post. A picture of him and Leah. The caption was, "Always you." Even though I had been the one by his side all these years, the person in his heart had always been Leah. Before, he used to refuse to make our relationship public, citing a ban on office romances. But after Leah came back, he couldn't wait to announce it. Love and indifference are so obvious. I thought I would be heartbroken, but surprisingly, I could still laugh. Perfect match, I said with a smile. Lily noticed the transfer documents in my hand and was surprised. Aren't you getting married? Why the transfer? I still had a smile on my face. Not anymore. I left the company where I had worked for years, under a gloomy sky, like a curtain falling on my years of chasing after Ethan. Chapter 4. Lately, Ethan and Leah were inseparable. The day before the wedding, he must have remembered me finally because he called. He asked why so many things were missing from the wedding suite. I calmly replied. You said before that the process was too complicated, right? Just keep it simple at home too. There was a pause on the other end of the line. Fine, Ethan said. According to our tradition, we should spend the night apart before the wedding. I'll come to your house to pick you up in the morning, I said. Okay. He rarely asked about my days. I said everything was fine. On the wedding day, Ethan brought a grand wedding procession to my house. But before he arrived, I had already boarded a plane without hesitation. When Ethan arrived at my house, it was eerily quiet. There wasn't even a red carpet at the door. Inside, everyone was stunned. The furniture was gone, and there wasn't a single wedding decoration on the walls. Ethan's best friend frowned. Where's the bride? And where are her family members? Maybe something came up. Ethan, call her. Ethan's face was pale, and after a long pause, he managed to say, Okay. But the phone just kept telling him the number was turned off. The wedding guests were waiting impatiently, urging him. Where's the bride? Is this wedding happening or not? Ethan's face grew darker, and he kept calling me, but it always went to voicemail. Maybe he was talking to himself or trying to convince others, but he kept shaking his head, his voice hoarse. She's waited so many years for me to marry her. She wouldn't back out. She must be planning a surprise. But even after sending me over a dozen messages, none were replied to. When he realized my parents were also unreachable, Ethan's face turned ghostly pale. As the commotion grew, a neighbor opened their door. They looked at the crowd and then at Ethan, frowning. The girl moved out. If you didn't want her before, why are you here now? Chapter 5. The wedding that I had once looked forward to ended in a farce. Ethan lost face in front of everyone and had a massive meltdown for the first time. He flipped tables and went crazy looking for me. I watched the surveillance footage coldly, feeling nothing. My mom brought me a warm cup of milk. Seeing Ethan's disheveled state on the screen, my mom couldn't help but scorn. Serves him right. My mom, worried I might feel upset, stayed with me in my room for a long time that night. She said she couldn't understand why her beloved daughter wasn't cherished by Ethan. In her eyes, I was wonderful. When she had guessed that I was being bullied in high school, she had taken a taxi to the school in the middle of the night. Our home was far from the school. She arrived at a.m. Because of her strong stance, the school administration finally took the issue seriously. So, I wasn't bullied during my senior year. I couldn't help but snuggle into her arms. My mom gently patted me, smiling. No matter how old you get, you'll always be my little girl. I blocked Ethan on all my social media. Life abroad was peaceful, and it was rewarding to see my progress. I no longer focused all my attention on Ethan. I started paying attention to myself. In my spare time, I took up fitness and dance classes. I thought life would continue calmly like this. Then one day after work, I saw a familiar figure outside the company. Ethan was there, holding his phone as if he was on a call. He hung up after a few words, frowning. Just as I was about to leave, a strong hand grabbed me back. Gwen. I met his gaze. His eyes were red. How long are you going to avoid me? I smiled calmly. I left to give you and Leah a chance. He frowned. It's not what you think. I did love her once. I thought I still did. But after you left, I realized I can't live without you. I laughed. Too little, too late, I said. But I don't love you anymore. His grip on my arm tightened, and I winced. That's impossible. You loved me so much. How can you just stop? That's the thing about feelings, they're unpredictable. I looked at him calmly. But I really don't love you anymore. I watched his face change, finally settling on a stubborn phrase. You must be angry with me, right? I promise, I'll never see her again, okay? I shook my head. Whether you see her or not has nothing to do with me anymore. Please don't disturb my life again. Ethan's lips thinned, and he seemed to want to say more when a new trainee from our company, Ryan, walked over. Sis, why aren't you leaving? Need a ride? Chapter 6. I pulled my arm free from Ethan's grip and smiled at Ryan. Sure, thanks. I got into Ryan's car, and as we drove, he glanced at the rearview mirror and asked with a smile. Sis, was that your boyfriend? I corrected him. Ex-boyfriend. Ryan grinned. Oh, that makes sense. He must see me as a rival. I raised an eyebrow. Really? He turned to look at me with puppy dog eyes. Why not? Sis, don't you like my type? I paused. A boyish charm. I hadn't tried that before. It's fine. I just haven't dated anyone like you. I smiled. Do you want to give it a try? He waited for my answer. I smiled but didn't say anything. I wasn't sure. After all, I had just broken up with Ethan. It would take some time to completely move on from the past. Seeing that I didn't respond, Ryan smiled and said, It's okay. I can wait. Although Ryan was the new trainee, everyone knew he was actually the boss's youngest son. But we all kept it to ourselves. Despite his strong background, he was quite low-key. He was competent and efficient. The boss trusted me enough to place his son under my supervision. Just after I had taken a shower at home, Lily called me. She had left for a job at Ethan's company. Ethan, with his good looks and successful career, was naturally the object of many women's affections. Lily was no exception. She saw Ethan as her idol. He is so handsome. I've never been so close to Mr. Ethan before. I'm so excited. But he seems to be in a bad mood lately, like he broke up with his girlfriend. His social media posts are gone too. Ethan's profile was once again blank. But his username had changed. It used to be Juan. But now it was Gwen. By the way, I have some juicy gossip. I laughed. You always have so much gossip. She was excited. I saw his ex-girlfriend at the office a few days ago. Mr. Ethan wouldn't see her. He even said seeing her made him sick and mentioned something about bullying. I laughed. Could it be that he suddenly realized the person he loved was a bully? It seems so. He was really rude to her, told security to throw her out. I listened to the story like it was someone else's. I didn't feel the anticipated schadenfreude. I felt very calm, as if I were listening to a story about someone else. I think I've finally moved on. On my grandmother's birthday, my parents and I returned home to celebrate. But as soon as we reached the door, I heard Ethan's voice. He had bought many things for my grandmother and was chatting happily with her while watching TV. Seeing me, my grandmother's eyes crinkled with a smile. Gwen, you're here. Ethan glanced at me and wanted to greet my parents. My dad snorted and didn't give him a good look. My mom glared at him. Why are you here? We don't welcome you. Chapter 7. Uncle, Aunt, I know I was wrong with Gwen. I came today just to see Grandma. Grandma smiled. Yes, Ethan has been visiting me frequently lately. She pointed to the ceiling light and laughed. Last time, the light broke and Ethan came to fix it. He's a good kid. I looked at Ethan in surprise. I never thought that the high and mighty Ethan would actually change a light bulb. Ethan looked at me with deep affection. Gwen, can we talk? I smiled indifferently. Sure, what do you want to talk about? We can talk here. He pressed his lips together and walked towards me. I've thought a lot over this period. It wasn't fair to you that I still had Leah in my heart. I also finally realized that the person who bullied you was Leah, but I swear I didn't know before. His eyes were red, his voice hoarse. Can you give me another chance to love you again? I looked into Ethan's deeply emotional eyes. I laughed at how his love came too late. If this had been before, I might have thrown myself into his arms, overwhelmed with emotion. But now, I was a different person. It's too late. I smiled. Love has an expiration date, Ethan. Ours has already expired. We can't go back. I watched as his eyes reddened even more. In the end, he nodded, a forced smile on his face. Okay, I understand. He turned to my family, greeting them one last time. Happy birthday, Grandma. I'll leave you to enjoy your day. Goodbye, Uncle, Aunt. With that, he turned and left. To be honest, I had never seen Ethan so defeated. But my heart felt nothing. I didn't love him anymore, so naturally, I didn't feel any pity. Although Grandma liked Ethan, she always respected my choices. She didn't try to persuade me to get back with him but instead reminded me to love myself more. After blowing out the candles, Grandma closed her eyes to make a wish. She said, I hope Gwen finds a boy who has eyes only for her. Chapter 8. After returning to the company, Ryan began pursuing me fervently. If he wasn't leaving a large bouquet of roses on my desk, he was placing steaming hot breakfast in my drawer. He even remembered my cycle, preparing warm ginger tea and feminine products for me in advance. I tapped him on the head. Unfortunately, I'm not a fresh graduate who falls for these tricks anymore. For the first time, I saw a look of frustration in his eyes. Then what do you like, sis? His eyes were bright as he looked at me. I thought for a moment. Something more stable, I guess. I don't really know. He leaned in and kissed me. In an instant, I felt a spark, a tingling sensation all over. I stood there stunned. He smiled, his eyebrows arched. Sis, my name is Ryan Zhao. Stop calling me by my last name. Ryan's way of expressing love was different from Ethan's. Ethan was cold and reserved. But Ryan's love was bold and unreserved. He wanted to tell the whole world that we were in a relationship. One day, after watching a movie together, he pulled me in for a selfie. The next day, I saw the photo online. His caption read, Love has an expiration date, but my love for you is eternal. Just as I was about to laugh at how cheesy it was, I saw Ethan's comment below. 4 simple words. Take good care of her. Ryan must have guessed it was him. He didn't reply to any other comments, but he responded to Ethan's. Of course, but thanks for leaving such a wonderful person for me. Ethan didn't reply again. My phone rang with Ryan's triumphant voice. How about that, sis? Feel better now? I laughed helplessly. I stopped caring a long time ago. It's not about feeling better. And why did you make me look so bad in the photo while you looked so good? Ryan raised an eyebrow. I think you look beautiful. We had been inseparable these past few days. Our colleagues joked that we were surrounded by pink bubbles. After being used to Ethan's coldness, this was the first time I experienced such a passionate love. It turns out that being loved genuinely gives you confidence. I no longer feared upsetting my partner in a relationship. Nor would I compromise my dignity. One day after work, I ran into Leah. She looked the same as always, unchanged. With long hair and a pretty face, she looked like an innocent, well-behaved girl. She smiled at me. "Gwen, fancy seeing you here." I ignored her and turned to leave, but a tall man blocked my way. She walked up to me, her face still adorned with a delicate smile. "I'm not going to do anything to you. Why are you running?" Chapter 9. Memories from the past flashed before my eyes. I didn't want to remember those painful and humiliating experiences. They played like a slideshow in my mind. Leah's evil smile from the past merged with the one before me now. She raised an eyebrow, sneering. "Why are you trembling?" She reached out to grab my arm, but I wrenched it free. Her expression darkened instantly. She swung a slap at me. But unlike before, I caught her hand. She frowned, disbelief in her eyes. The old Gwen would have taken the hit without fighting back. "How dare you!" I retaliated with a slap across her face. Her pale skin turned red immediately. Her eyes were wide with shock. "Gwen, you really have grown bolder, daring to hit me?" She ordered the man behind her to grab me. I couldn't move. They dragged me into a secluded alley, and her smile vanished. She brandished a knife in front of me. "Gwen, you look like me, your name sounds like mine. How can trash like you compare to me? Ethan chose you as my stand-in. At first, I didn't care. But I didn't expect him to fall for you." The cold knife pressed against my cheek. I struggled, but the man's grip was too strong. I glared at her. Even if Ethan didn't fall for me, he would fall for someone else. "No." She was visibly agitated. "Ethan can only love me. How can he love anyone else? He's only mine." Seeing my silence, she screamed. "Say something. Why would Ethan fall for you? What do you have?" I raised my head, mocking her. "Why don't you ask him?" Tears suddenly welled up in her eyes, but her mouth twisted into a sinister smile. "Fine. Since Ethan likes you, I'll ruin you. I'll scar your face and see if he still likes you." She moved to slash my face, but then a familiar voice rang out. Chapter 10. "Leah, if you hurt her even a little, I won't let you go." Ethan's sudden appearance caught me off guard. His eyes were bloodshot as he walked towards me. "Gwen, don't be afraid." Seeing Ethan like this, Leah's anger flared. She raised the knife to stab me in the chest. But everything seemed to go quiet. I only heard the sound of blood dripping to the ground. When I opened my eyes, I saw Ethan standing in front of me. The knife was embedded in his abdomen. Blood poured out. Leah screamed and immediately let go. She stepped closer to Ethan, her eyes filled with regret. You hurt yourself for her?" The man behind me, perhaps afraid of the consequences, quickly released me. Ethan collapsed into my arms. Leah stood frozen, reaching out for Ethan, but he pushed her away. "Get lost." Leah, still unwilling to accept, tearfully asked Ethan. "Did you really fall for her? Is that it?" Ethan turned to look at me, his eyes red. I just realized it too late. Ryan arrived with the police. Seeing Ethan covered in blood in my arms, he was stunned. "Are you okay?" I shook my head. After confirming that I wasn't hurt, Ryan lifted Ethan and carried him out. Ethan's injury was severe. Leah was sentenced to a few years in prison. After Ethan was hospitalized, Ryan often visited him. I didn't know what they talked about. Ethan was still recovering when he insisted on being discharged. After that, I didn't see him again. Ryan curiously asked me, "Aren't you curious why your ex left?" I shook my head. It has nothing to do with me anymore. Indeed, it didn't matter anymore. But I still appreciated that he had saved me. And one day, on a bustling street, Ryan suddenly got down on one knee and presented a ring to me. "Gwen, will you let me take care of you for the rest of our lives?" I was a little stunned. Although we had been together for over half a year, it still felt a bit sudden. Or maybe I had never experienced what it felt like to be proposed to. In the past, I followed Ethan around, always fantasizing about the day he would propose to me. But it never came. So I kept asking him over and over, "When will we get married?" He always said the company wasn't stable yet, and he wasn't ready. Until that day, I mustered up the courage to propose to him. When he agreed, I was so happy. Seeing me in a daze, Ryan repeated, "Will you marry me?" I nodded. Almost instantly, the night sky exploded with brilliant fireworks. Like a magnificent painting. All the passers-by stopped, exclaiming, "How beautiful!" Ryan slipped the ring onto my finger. For some reason, tears welled up in my eyes. Ryan thought he had scared me with his sudden proposal and hugged me tightly. People around us took pictures. This grand display of fireworks was something Ryan had prepared long ago. "Well, the day you agreed to be my girlfriend, I decided I wanted to give you the most beautiful fireworks." Ryan smiled at me, holding my hand tightly. Turns out, some people are determined to love you from the very beginning. This time, my blank social media finally had a new post. A picture of us holding hands under the fireworks. The caption read, "This time, it's true happiness." Chapter 11. Ryan and I decided to have our wedding back home. After all, we were both Chinese, it didn't make sense to marry abroad. Ryan agreed. He took the wedding very seriously, almost single-handedly decorating our wedding suite. The result was exactly the style I loved. Ryan had a sunny personality, and my grandmother and parents adored him. When we visited his home, his father, my boss, couldn't help but laugh. "Well, Gwen, I sent my son to you, and now you're dating him." Ryan held my hand tightly. "Thanks, Dad, for sending my wife my way." On our wedding day, I wore the wedding dress I had always dreamed of and became the bride everyone admired. "Miss Gwen, do you take Mr. Ryan Zhao as your lawful wedded husband, for better or worse, for richer or poorer?" The officiant's voice echoed in my ears. Tears filled my eyes. "I do." Ryan kissed my forehead. Out of the corner of my eye, I thought I saw Ethan's figure. He stood quietly in the corner, watching me. My phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "He loves you very much. Be happy, Gwen." That night in our wedding suite, Ryan told me. Before Ethan left, he had said something to him. What did he say? Ryan turned off the light and kissed me. He wished us a lifetime of happiness. And just like that, my story with Ethan finally came to a close. But my story with Ryan had just begun.